So there is the first gateway, and the second gateway, and the third gateway, and the fourth gateway, and the fifth gateway. And I use black to represent the soldiers, the sorcerers, the purple, and the red for the spies. And, oh, maybe I should show more complete. So I got the detail. Now, I'm not saying this is what they look like, or that, well, you use the symbol how you please to your purposes. But here goes. Is Al Quran 42:14. Oh, Al Quran 42:14 says that sectarianism appears through transgressions. After clear scripture is made known, and still they have mutual teachings. Is that right? The mythology and symbolism of both orthodox and unorthodox spirituality may inflect differently or similarly in your experience. What additional understanding and experience have you had in these areas? In the house of Anatel, E. A. Koetting supposedly knew 13-foot soldiers. Fortash may manifest as a 7-foot-tall strong man in iron armor. He is worshipped facing north by those hoping he will remove their obstacles. And let's do the symbols as I go along. Around and up through a lot of these little eye things, but the Goetia sort of has that. And the names that A.E.A. Koetting uses here kind of remind you of the Goetia sort of stuff, the mixed in with the pseudo ancient Persian language, Necronomicon sort of thinking. So Salash Ash is worshipped by those hoping they will be given money or maybe to steal it. Kilton is a duke worshipped in hopes of surrounding a person with his legions to psychologically control them. So it's sort of like a bat. Glass Yas may make some of us think of Glasya Labalas, or number 25 from the Goetia. Glass Yas is supposed to be a small being obscured by its brightness, and a clarifier or comforter of situations. So, 3 full spirals inwards. Oh, well, technically 4. Oh, well, almost 4. Hent Yas is supposed to raise vibrations of a spiritual or physical nature, but that can destroy things. This one's more like a Bebe than anything from the Goetia. Well, I wouldn't say anything from the Goetia. Samagina is kind of similar in the term of the symbol, you know, that number 4. you know, that one supposedly can destroy things. Aber Yayan is supposed to appear as a small, slowly speaking white man who initiates in a subtle way and answers questions written with his sigil over it. Almost like a hexagram. Sa Ahatlar is like a sharp-dressed man from a century ago. He is supposed to be able to weaken enemies. And what hasn't formulated and weaken the difficult situations. E. A. Koetting tells us here how seldom spirits take on a modern appearance. Yeah, if they're projections of your mind. Oh, well, the literature's old, they, you know, are, sometimes you get stuck in your ways, like an old man, old man who dresses like the fashion 60 years ago. Just the fashion, not, okay, if comfortable or whatever has gone out of style, that's different. Um, oh, and this one's also more like a veve, you know, kind of bar with the, but it's very Christian looking if you think about it. These little eye bars happen a lot in sigils. Sigilia is the plural. Gra at Talion. Gra at Talion is like a nudist man that is wasting away. If you give yourself over to the black glow from its eyes, it may take you to the depressive woods of hell, where it is said to rule and teach mind control and physical control over others. And this one's simpler in a way. Now there's a few other in this sequence, another I bar, diagonally, and / I bar. I don't know what to call them. Sahan Tal-Ak is supposed to have lived before the Infernal Empire and legions of spirits formed. It supposedly helps people manifest their raw visions of empire. And sort of the opposite, you have the backslash and over here the /. But you have this little thing here, and yeah, another cross, but there's other uses for the cross and the Christian thing. Cross vest is in golden armor that supposedly protects against physical harm and financial hardship, but E. A. Koetting admits how it doesn't last long after the evocation. Draw Talon. Oh, let me do the symbol. Sigilia, I bar, and when this goes here, it curves up and across there, but you have a long I bar and a not quite as long I bar. Drop Talon is supposed to be blue-eyed. It's supposed to be blue eyes and dark shadowy form, sent to torture and lead a victim towards death. And I used to have but not quite even, sort of. Oh, / sort of I bar. I used to have blue eyes at some point when I was a child. There's pictures of that, and they kind of turned on me. After my vaccines, my eyes, they're no longer blue. You know. Anyways, all barred on. Is supposed to bring the basic needs of life quicker than most spirits perform tasks. Do the spirits do what you worship them for, or would these things happen without demonic helpers? A lot of interesting symbols. Maybe one day I should go back and interpret them, say what they mean. Another, sort of like the Venus sign at the end, or the Ankh. Has Qatar, Has Qatar, yeah. Has Qatar supposedly brings you in touch with animals and their power, but what you seem to be in touch with may not be physical animals at all. And oh, this is kind of like some of the petroglyphs for lizard, if you think about it. Well, its tail isn't. It has a circle at the end of the tail, a very small circle. In the house of Retstall, E. A. Koetting claims to have known 12 sorcerers. And this one's like a hangman's noose. Oh, it goes down up. Eriesh Tahtahal is supposed to wear a blue, greenish-blue cowl. My hooded cloak is red. It seems to communicate from the quartz globe atop its silver wand. That nether is worshipped by those believers in reincarnation that want to alter their physical, psychic, and spiritual bodies, or just know about related matters. And this next one is very famous in terms of what E.A. Koetting mentions in his videos. Well, not very famous. He isn't exactly the most famous Satanist or demonolator or devil worshiper or whatever that you or occultist or whatever that he's far from that. But Ant Haratu shows up as sparse wisps of smoke in the northwest and ends up as a figure in a black hooded cloak. The gateway of Pax may be over the chest, on the robe, or on the forehead part of its hood. He allegedly taught evil magic to Persians, Northeast Africans, and North Americans of ancient times. People worship him as a miracle worker that helps them with their goals. And another hexagram like sigillium. Another I bar, sort of thing, diagonally over. Yeah, I think I already did that part. Eshtalishtu is also one that he's mentioned in multiple videos, I believe. And his slender, handsome nudeness may be what E.A. Koetting is trying to emulate in his healthy behavior, our projection of his ideal self. It is supposed to teach alchemy, other transmutations, and ritual towards those ends. It's the highest change
really the divine into matter, seemingly from nothing, heavily implies the materialization is only deceit and mere illusion. Methmeon, oh, I should start with this. This is like some sort of weird looking antenna. You got this here and this over here. It goes over, and you have a long eye bar sort of across, but not quite an eye bar, kind of a Z with an eye bar and a T overlaid. It, and what's this here? Or is this part of Krehel Terol? Yeah, I think that's part of Krehel Terol. Methme on is evoked facing north and just escapes being witnessed in the southeast. It whispers like a hissing serpent of how to constrain spirits and humans. Look at egg at the end. And sort of little spheres of that. Etlet Osh, or Et Litosh, is a netherlord, which is more beautiful than anything Matthew Lawrence thought was an angel. This furious demon is thought to be able to raise power towards what might seem impossible. /ibars, /ibars, different, bigger, and kind of over, yeah, then to this little kind of, no, I don't know, maybe that's my official gesture for this sigillum. Oh, you can't see them forming sort of a P with that, but anyways. Lati Kahol. La Te Kahol is a demoness of being manipulative, questioned about plots, and is worshipped as part of other mental warfare. And, you know, this. Why do males so outnumber the females when they're gendered, particularly with the Jinn and the Grimoires, but in general mythology, I don't know, it kind of sounds like like there might be more females. Backslash Ivar and long sort of Ivar, and you got that Swello sort of rune thing going on, the circle and thing at the bottom there. Krosios is a priest lord of the dead in a deep purple hooded robe over all but, the mouth, nose, sort of part of its face. It raises specters of the dead and teaches other feats of necromancy. And kind of reminds you of the sun symbol, but not quite. Sort of a backslash I bar, sort of a horizontal I bar. Oh, you kind of can think of this maybe holding a hammer sort of guy or holding a pipe. Um, a Thon convinces others that they can be immortal by transmigration of the soul at will. Here again, the demon is alleged to have taught Matthew Lawrence of the glorified position of the worldly body. It is true that he should not be so into the idea of translating this bodily life and accept that this body is a vehicle for certain lessons and kind of like a spaceship if you think about it. Backslash I bar. No other backslash I bar. The other thing and kind of going across the circle, but the edge being outside the circle. Throw, glaw, cast starts like an animal and finishes like a man or woman. No body, so vehicle first lessons. Okay, that that makes sense with that symbol. Froglattast starts like an animal and finishes like a man or woman. For Eric Arcalis Koetting, that is usually from a wolf to a woman in a long, tight silk dress that allegedly satisfies sexual or emotional desires, even from people who are disinterested or opposed to being that way with the evil magician. And this sort of weird, sort of kind of hooked at the end, sort of cross, and each one has a, so it's kind of like a swastika, but another one here, and I'm going there, backslash I bar, backslash I bar, backslash I bar, forward slash I bar, forward slash I bar around this here. But connected to the thing there, you got this twist, sort of Virgo symbol, sort of. Krehel a Terol. Is thought to be a master of marvelous feats that can take years of daily or nightly study to accomplish. And Ak Lahat Tesh, if you remember, the symbol here is very much like the Gra Ahat Talion and, well, some other ones, but Ak Lahat Tesh is a time master who might alter perception of time and bestow a perception of the past or future. And backslash I bar on that, go down, up and over, and little thing there, and over again, and slightly almost straight, but sort of a backslash. Ha, Kla, Tor. Seems to struggle in pain to speak from its skinless face. In its gray hooded robe, this figure that shows some bone claims to be able to teach you how to steal from another's life force and how to make vessels to trap it. The EA Koetting YouTube page has no less than one video where such a spirit jar is visible. Well, I can't say. I don't think he's done a video of actually using the spirit jar or something, but he has jars that supposedly could be used to trap spirits. I don't personally believe that spirits can be trapped. I don't think there's any real indication. As much as you've read the 1001 Nights, that's a fable that's not really based in much of anything. The House of Malkash has 8 spies said to deliver information. And click across there, but let's go down, over, down, curve up, sort of curve over and down again, and the backslash I bar. Mami on is like a young man with a tunic in the north or west. When this demonic muse is nude, it seems without sexual features of either sex. Its inspiration seems more twisted as time goes on. Sort of like a centrifuge device or something. And, you know, then the sphere around the whole thing. Mac Ta Lahan has the body and hind limbs of a lion, reptilian arms with 3 clawed hands, a raptor head with hair, a beak, and bird eyes. I can't say that a Therianthrop's image that I've seen contains these specific outlines, but I mean the specific features of this Chimeria Sphinx, whatever you want to call it. Oh, yeah, because it's sort of a sphinx because it has body of a lion. This gently speaking nether speaks upon the mechanics of machine and flesh, but it is not a skilled communicator. And let's see. Ta, Ka, Yat, sort of like the Sri Yantra. And you got ding, ding across it. And of course, backslash I bar, backslash I bar, backslash I bar, forward slash I bar, backslash I bar, horizontal I bar, forward slash I bar, forward slash I bar, forward slash I bar. Ta, Ka, Yat is a demon lord with an etheric mind that seems timeless. It doesn't speak of matters in chronological order, but is alleged to be able to help a person become a better soothsayer. And sort of, you know, divided lozenge sort of thing, and kind of, you know, and let's go back up and around, and this goes there, and then a backslash I bar to close the thing. Yash Alten is like a spirit in blue flames which fades in and out of view. As it tells broad and specific details of the universe, its stellar bodies, and their use in forbidden astrology. Now, if you're practiced with scrying into reflective surfaces, you'll notice that the reflection comes in and out. Same thing with the vision. You'll probably have experienced this at some point. And another vertical I bar and a horizontal I bar to kind of close off this intersection of the triangle within the triangle that extends further out. Pent Ost is it's another one to that's hard to pronounce. It's worshipped by those who want to change situational processes. It wants the Karcist to mutually work with him to build your empire. Now, Karcist is a word that he wouldn't know, but I thought it fits. And that with the /I bar, not as much. The tweezers sort of thing. Again, /I bar and /I bar at the end of this chord of the circle, sort of part of the circle. You know, cut off. Hala Thor. Hala Thor is the demon lord, like a rich, stuffed shirt, sort of clean-shaven guy that is evoked for help finding a career and success in more areas of life. What good is empire if imbalanced in areas of your existence? Year, Dawn, and I almost forgot. You got the I bar. You go down and around and up, and it's sort of a, and then it curves a little. And okay, Beer Dawn is a demon lord with teachings on raw materials and their occult usage. Why hasn't E.A. Koetting worked out a unified theory and practice of material and spiritual existence for the masses with all these immensely skilled spiritual helpers? Allah Tahil Atta? Oh. Go back there. Double check the thing. Allah Tahil Sta. Oh, now I see it. Okay. I thought my handwriting was really bad. Allah Tahil Sta shows up like a skinny, white-haired old woman. Again, something unusual in the Grimoire is a reference to a female Jinn. She is gentle and respectful, but ignores speech that is not about putting things together to create amulets and charms. And this will go quicker. The summoning rite of the Book of Azazel, Grimoire the Damned, is rather standard in its 9 steps. It starts by using the symbol related to the specific spirit and the burnt offering in its unique circle of pacts. E.A. Koetting speaks of kneeling and bringing yourself into the Theta Gamma sync he has spoken of in a number of videos. The incense or scent offering is placed on what burns it. The eyes stay upon the specific symbol as the ATATA mantra is said. Look this up on his website if you want to know what it is. Look it up on the 4 conjurations of unlimited power. Well, obviously limited, but he likes to exaggerate. So next is assuming it is there with a detached but focused awareness. What you think you are. When you think you are either going to pass out or go insane, the misassociator with God calls on the demon by name. Then he calls a person not to think about what is happening in the manifestation. Then a person briefly declares what they want and records what happens. Finally, one bids the spirit adieu and says, "The grand evocation of the pact are the A-T-A-T-A chant as they leave." Now try to ascend thrice, try to descend twice. No, that's not what it means, but I'm trying to symbolize just the A and the T, and trying to come up with something different for abbreviating it. As they leave, Al-Quran 46 4 through 9 asks those who worship other than God for a scriptural authority for their practices. That the worshipped tend to be unaware of the invocations and evocations and will become their enemy in the end, while proclaiming that Islam is neither evil magic fabricated, nor is Muhammad's prophethood an innovation in religion. Bid on, if you continue the word. Do you take similar views, or would you say that a valid scriptural authority has been revealed through Azazel in his legions, and Matthew Lawrence has been honest in his inspiration to say more? And the following chapter is called Preparing the Vessel. There is more to the occult than trying to control demons, but sihr, or evil magic, can be like that for some. Al-Quran 46:29 through 32 mentions how 3 to 10 jinn silently listened to Al-Quran and told their people that it is like scripture after Moses died, and warned to respond before there will be neither an escape on earth or protectors aside from God. E. A. Koetting speaks of how the neophyte has simple goals, but can't a person lead a simple life? Isn't that okay? E. A. Koetting sees the existence of nuclear weapons as meaning humans are the destroyer of worlds. How will we live out that role? On page 155 of the Book of Azazel by E. A. Koetting, page 155 of the Book of Azazel by E. A. Koetting says, "We are not men who are striving to become gods, but we are gods who have striven to become men. And once we have seen ourselves clearly, the rift of insecurity is healed." What is the truth? Is my question to that. And it's clear he's made one of his videos this year. What is it, Black Magician? Think about the LGBT or whatever, that one. He still has some healing he needs to do. Whether or not Cody is a transsexual or just a homely woman, which is fine if there's better about her than her appearance. We are vessels of flesh, according to we are vessels of flesh, according to tantric traditions. In some forms of yoga, it was believed that all the gods and goddesses resided in the body. Is Al-Quran 43:19 through 25 right? That we should neither gender the divine nor worship the unfallen angels, light beings, and that Al-Quran came to show a better path than the ancestral ways. E. A. Koetting thinks we are gods becoming humans, rather than humans becoming living gods. Noticing problems in his life, Azazel was summoned to figure it out. The message was to acquire strength and improve his physical body. Otherwise, in the face of all magical operations, we still have to do the physical work to maintain our bodies. Page 157 of the Book of Azazel, Grimoire, the Dawn by E.A. Koetting, makes clear that the author, Matthew Lawrence, as he is known to the police by, or E.A.K., was continually on methamphetamines around the time of the workings with Azazel after his marriage broke up. Despite his claiming to have beat his addiction for good with yoga under Baba Maharaj and such things, Matthew Joseph Lawrence and his roommate Aaron Cody Elder were arrested on November 14th, 2014 by the Washington County Drug Task Force of St. George, Utah, and sent to the Purgatory Correctional Facility. I mean, it can't get much better than I mean, he tries to be poetic in how he relates things, but http / utah.arrest.org/arrests /Matthew _ LAWRENCE Lawrence, if you don't know how to spell it, underline 193177727 / question D = 1. If you want to see his mugshot and charge list in that instance, wasn't his first time being arrested, but that's harder to find. The author, Matthew Lawrence, admits on page 158 that the jinn and the drugs were causing dissociative mental illness and made him think of how he had turned towards the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints with fervent devotion after the severe neglect of his first few years of life. As a teenager, he started to violate church teachings against self-abuse and defilement of various types. Now, I was a member of the same church, and I didn't rebel in that way. I wanted to become more righteous and more on the truth than the church had provided for me. There was also some psychological abuse regarding his wanting to know about the parents he was adopted from. Matthew Lawrence seems to indicate the psychological reason for his left-hand path pursuits being that he lacked coordination as a child and was unable to properly interact with objects on his left side from his right, as mentioned on page 159. Matthew Lawrence was a cutter and probably shares a suicide attempt with us on page 160. Now, remember, I'm giving sort of a Reader's Digest / interpretation / what else relates to this sort of presentation of this. If you want his full stories and you think it's worth spending the $30 for PDF, really $30 for something that could cost $5 as a paperback? Or even over $1,000 for some hardcover book. Well, this is my own personal handwritten grimoire. His first marriage, his daughter, and other good things seemed to be a gift. But that wasn't enough for him. Is Al-Quran 43:29-30 right about the good things of life being a gift for us and our ancestors to enjoy till revelation comes from other than work with the spirits to clarify the situation. Matthew Lawrence was still full of discontent and anger. His childhood physical therapy led him from power yoga to Ashtanga yoga, but not to its Raja yoga roots. As I've made the point before, yoga is not stretching and breathing. Yoga is a word for religion. Same thing with the Dharma and, Deen in Arabic. Dan in some Persian languages, Dan, Deen, Persian Semite languages, you have that breakdown there. Based on the E.A. Koetting videos, there is reason for any who have seen a few to doubt how effective he claims these were upon his thoughts and feelings. Vinyasa are breathing differently, with different postures of Ashtanga yoga might better suit a practice like a salat or ritual prayers. I do not doubt that he has developed a level of discipline in a path that can exceed weightlifting. After a few years, Matthew Lawrence turned to bodybuilding. He lost the ability he had before the meth and the diving deep into Satanism. But he realized there needed to be better use of other body parts than mere muscles. 6 years before the writing of this book, Matthew Lawrence made his first public appearance as Eric Archelaus Koetting. The worldly was vessels of earth to assert his alleged godhood, according to what Azazel told him. Giving a pre-scheduled talk to promote his first 2 books, Kingdoms of Flame and Works of Darkness, was his initial way. And I also did comment videos on those. A newspaper reporter showed up and took notes. Things seemed well as he spoke of Maslow's hierarchy, or pyramid of needs, self-actualization, Christ consciousness, God realization, theta gamma sync, and practical magic with magic squares. After a person spoke of his doubt of the ability of low magic to provide the basic needs, note-taking and attention waned. He sold no books, but he didn't give up. I feel that he implies with what he says on page 180 and more that he blames them for lacking interest and motivation rather than flaws in his magical thinking and presentation. Now, I know that my presentation needs perfection, and I'm working on it, and my spiritual understanding of the world, there's stuff I can improve, at the very least in terms of what I know, and I'm trying here. Matthew Lawrence then goes over his own ascent up Maslow's hierarchy. Still, he ended up getting divorced to Sean. His life fell apart some, but 2 months after his needs were fulfilled again, his 6th book, Our Questing After Visions, was started. Now, I haven't read this. I don't even remember really what was in it, but anyways. The Vessel of the Ion is driven to use magic towards worldly ends, while considering themselves as a god or goddess. As a 12-year-old, E.A. Koetting convinced himself that he was causing physical changes to occur with candle magic. Did he have real power outside how he felt? Is there usually disappointment with power acquired? The Demon King. It seems ridiculous for Matthew Lawrence to claim that reality does not take form till we are aware of it. Is Al-Quran 45:21-23 right? That the misbelieving wicked doer will be judged differently. Creation is reality instead of illusion, and those who treat their desires as divine have lost their senses. His practices of demonolatry seemed to him to break through a glass of the bottom of escapable descent in his understanding. Was he just pleasuring his physical and psychic bodies in his Satanism, or was it more real in the Book of Azazel, Grimoire the Damned? E.A. Koetting speaks of the words Azazel allegedly spoke and the circumstances of it and the 90-day pact. Azazel told him to free himself and become a king among kings by destroying the contract. Destroying the pact at the end doesn't really banish demons, nor does removing and destroying. Delaying it for a few days filled him with ill feelings. Matthew Lawrence destroyed it along with a collection of items of power in a way that left him feeling unhuman. After words and actions that were not understood, the demons spoke to him about being ready to start. Does a person become a god or a goddess by evocation, damnation, and renunciation? Al-Quran 43:15 teaches that acting like creations have a portion in divinity is ingratitude. Evocation is bringing something out through your senses. Damnation is the gateway to liberation in the understanding of a Satanist. Well, some wouldn't put it that way, but anyways. It is to give up hope and become a useful slave to the demons. Much of this includes blasphemy of so-called organized religion. Is Al-Quran 45:7-10 right about the great